problem is the first problem is this. So I already know that I can do +1 to get the next date, right? But the condition is it should not have weekends, right? So how can I deal with it? Okay, so I'll first put in the first date as it is, and I will say if text of this date, right, which is Friday, equals to Friday, okay, then I want this plus 3, otherwise this plus 1. Let me close this and let me explain the formula once again, right? So let's break it down. In if formula, we have three parameters. One is the logical condition, right, or logical test. The other one, the second parameter or input is that will execute only if the logical test is true. Otherwise, this will be executed. Okay. So, so if I don't want the weekends to show up as the next value, I need to know what day it is. And if the day is Friday, I want to jump 3 days ahead so that I get Monday. If it's any other day, it will jump just one day. Okay, there is a slight problem with this formula, but for now, let's do it simply so that you understand. Okay, now the problem is this is a general format. What we can do is we can go ahead and copy this as format and paste it here and so on, right? So you would see that after Friday we immediately got Monday, which is 27th of January, right, and so on. Now one problem with this formula is, what if my day is Saturday instead of Friday? The formula completely breaks down because we have just mentioned that if it is Friday, then only we go 3 days ahead, otherwise no. So I would encourage you to deal with this situation and maybe come up with your own formula to deal with what will happen if you start with Saturday instead of Friday. Okay, let's talk about time now. So we already know that control semicolon will give us date, right? And we already know what will we have to do in order to get the next day, right? But what if I don't want the next day and only want to increase the date and time by just 1 hour, right? So first of all, let's convert this date into date and time format, which is ddmm and then 4y's and now space with double H colon double M and then colon double S, which is hour, minute and seconds. So you would see that any date is the exact midnight, the starting point of that day, right? So now if I want to add 1 hour to it, how would I do? So we already know that if I add 1 to here or 1 to this date, I will get the next day, right? So what I can do in order to uh, add 1 hour to it, right? So you know that one day has 24 hours. So if I break one in 24 parts and add this number to this date, I will get my 1 hour added to it. What if I want to do two, right? I can break down 1 into 24 parts and multiply that by 2 or 2 by 24. It gives me 2 hours, right? What will happen if I want to do 2 hours and 30 minutes? I can add 2.5 divided by 24 and so on, right? So you would immediately know that in one day we have 24 hours, we have 60 minutes in each hour, and 60 seconds in each minute, which is 86,400 seconds in one day. So if I add 1 divided by 86,400, I will increase the date and time by 1 second, right? And this is the basic foundation of the calculations you can perform in order to manipulate date and time formulas, right? You can think about anything. If I want to add 4 hours instead of 1 hour. Now, once you have understood the numerical nature of date and time, you can argue that you would find a lot of use cases in terms of manipulating date and time, right? For example, shift hours, right? Let's say uh, someone logged in today, okay, at 09 hours, so that means 9 o'clock, and they logged out at 6 p.m., right? So they logged in at 9 a.m. and logged out at 6 p.m. How many hours of shift have they actually done, right? So first of all, we have to take the out time and then subtract the in time from the equation, and that gives us 0.375 days, right? Now if I do control 1 again and go to custom, okay, and convert that into HHMM SS, you will see it is exactly 9 hours. So 18 minus 9, which is 9 hours, right? I can argue that if I take, instead of 6 p.m., 6:20 p.m., you would see that change immediately happened in the formula, right? So shift hours is something that you can calculate using simple mathematical equations on dates and time. Now, another use case for date and time could be SLA, service level agreement, which basically means when was the issue arrived in your bucket and when was it resolved, and how much time did you take in order to resolve the issue, and whether that time taken is within the SLA agreement or not, right? So I'll take the same thing, okay, instead of 9, let's say 11 a.m., right? uh, so SLA we have 1 hour, obviously from 9 to 11 it is 2 hours, so the SLA is not met. But how will you actually calculate? The formula remains the same, however there is an added calculation to it. So that means if this whole thing, okay, is greater than 1 hour, okay, now remember, how do we calculate 1 hour in Excel? It's equivalent to one part out of 24 parts when we break one day, right? So one is one day. If I break that into 24 parts, that becomes your 1 hour. So if this calculation is above 1 divided by 24th, that means your SLA is not met. Okay, otherwise it met the criteria, right? Now what we can do is, now let's test for 1 hour. So if I convert that 11 into 10 and press enter, you will see that it is met now, right? Why? Because it took exactly 1 hour in order to uh, uh, complete your ticket or whatever, right? So these are two variations of a similar kind of problem, and now you would know how to do computations or general level of manipulations using date and time.